Well, good evening, John.
Good evening, Ben.
How are you?
No.
What's he doing?
Right.
What's he doing?
Well, I'm looking at the desktop audio, right?
Yeah.
And it won't let me change the level.
That's very interesting.
Isn't
It's very
it?
interesting. Do you want me to just move here and shout a bit more and say,
Hold
hello,
on a minute.
hello?
Hold on a minute. I'm going into advanced audio properties. And I'm increasing the level there.
And how does it sound? People of the interwebs, tell me, is this better? Is this not entertainment? Is this... Speaking of entertainment, so, you know, the Hollywood writers have been on strike for the best part of 6 months, I guess. And they finally made their deal.
Oh, they made the deal, right? Okay.
Yeah, they've made their deal. They're going back to work. But a load of shows shut down. I think the actors are still on strike, so that's a kind of a problem. But this deal is probably going to end up, you know, coming back to bite them in the butt eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But Marvel Studios, we all know who they are, right? They're making a show called Daredevil Born Again right now with the same actors from the Netflix Daredevil show that ran 3 seasons. They'd shot, I believe, 9 episodes of Daredevil Born Again before the writer's strike occurred. And I think it's going to be an 18-episode season, so it's quite long.
Yeah.
Right? So they've come back from the writer's strike, and during this time that everything has been shut down, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios have had the ability to watch what they have filmed. And they have fired all of the writers, they have fired all of the directors, and they've scrapped everything they've shot, and they're going to start again.
Hey, there you go.
You shouldn't have gone on strike. You should not have gone on strike, because now these writers are all out of a job. Because they've all been fired from Marvel Studios. So, yeah, apparently some scenes will be reused from what they've shot, but whole episodes will not be completely scrapped. You know, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, other people who have spent time acting on this show, have filmed 9 whole episodes, now have to start again from scratch and reshoot absolutely everything with, by the looks of it, a whole new story. Your ding is very distracting, John.
How the fuck... It's the phone. And I turned the...
it's an iPhone, so it's a
Yeah, I
piece of
turned it
crap.
off.
So,
I turned it off.
um,
But the same thing happens with Android. You turn it off and it doesn't turn off.
well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, don't forget, at this point in the show, you need to be leaving a like so that we can push the algorithm. The algorithm, baby. And we can all just dwell on that for a minute. Let's dwell on the fact that a bunch of let's call them woke writers went on strike and now have found themselves completely out of a job. John, run the intro.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this episode 260 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and with Ben.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I don't know either. But Shalini says, do not forget Chaz. We can never forget Chaz. Look, there he is over John's right shoulder. Is that your right shoulder?
That shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
he's
my
over back
right
there.
shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. Look, he's over John's right shoulder. You can't forget Chaz. Nobody's forgetting Chaz. Come on now. He's a weirdo. He's a weirdo bear that John has conversations with. John,
Ben.
we've not really got a structure for the show this evening, have we?
No. Anyway, I think I started making some notes today and then I sort of gave up because
Right.
there's no news again. It's like the news is all dried up
Well, it
because they're all talking about one thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, it hasn't dried up. It's just pointed in one direction,
Yeah.
shall we say.
So I started making some notes because I thought these are questions I'd like to know, right? And I'm gonna talk about immigration, right? Okay.
Okay.
And people coming into our country, whether legally or not, and into America, whether legally or not, into Europe, whether legally or not. So,
Yep.
So here's the question. Because everybody says it's all orchestrated, right?
Yeah.
So who's orchestrating it?
Yeah, no, I want to know this as well. And this is going to be pushing back against, I don't know. I don't know what you would call them because I don't like to fall into a trap of being called part of a movement or part of a wing or anything like that. We just call out things as we see them, right? And we're seeing this on social media a lot.
Yeah.
People are saying, all of this movement of people is orchestrated. It's an army, we keep hearing.
Yeah.
But like you said, I mean, I saw a video today on Twitter, which I kind of scoffed at. Because it was a guy claiming to be an ex-soldier, don't know if he is, first of all. But saying he's seen video of UN crates being delivered to hotels full of migrants here in the UK.
He was as high as a kite. That guy that guy was either on something or he's got super serious PTSD.
That's what I saw, and I looked at it and I went. He went, I've seen proof. He goes, I've seen proof. I've seen pictures. I've seen videos. I'm not going to share them with you, though, and I'm not going to tell you who my source is.
No.
Well, if you're not going to share any evidence with me, you're not going to tell me who your source is. How am I going to believe a word you say?
Yeah.
You're just a guy sitting, and it was initially on Telegram, I believe, or Facebook. But you're just a guy sitting in front of your camera, and we're that as well. To be fair, but if we're going to come at you with facts, we're going to come at you with proof. There's the big difference. If we don't know something, we're not afraid to tell you that we don't know something.
Yeah.
We don't know something for sure, and we're sure as hell going to give you our opinion. But I see a comment here from Vaughan. He says it's not orchestrated, but it will be taken advantage of by the Warhawks. That's
How?
a possibility.
Well, no, that's a good statement, but I think you're going to have to elucidate me on that, because what are they going to do to take advantage of it? How?
And who are the Warhawks?
Yeah. Well,
That's
we
the
know
other
who they are.
question.
Liz Truss, Hillary Clinton, Blinken.
Yeah, Tony Garrett makes a point. This isn't verified, but take my word for it. Yeah, right. When has that ever been reliable? Well, exactly. And I mean, I've got 12 of those hotels within a stone's throw of my house. Okay. And I've not seen any United Nations trucks, and I've not seen any United Nations crates coming along here.
And I've been.
And there are 12 of them just there.
I've been all over Europe. And when I say all over Europe, I did 8 countries under lockdown.
You did.
And there's no we're not any different, right? I.e., it's not as if this isn't happening in Europe, and it's not as if it's any. It really seems much the same. In France, it's probably, I would say, there's predominantly more people hanging about than there are here. But when you get out of the cities, you don't see any. Now, that's always been the case here, certainly in Scotland. But now it's starting to get to the point where people are popping up in places like Paisley, which is, I mean, imagine fleeing a war-torn country or not, and arriving in Paisley.
I know. What you going to do there? What are you going to do in Paisley, for God's sake? Is there anything for anyone to do in Paisley?
These people must be thinking, what the hell have I done? Apart from the fact that they'll be freezing their rocks off as well. So the question, right, so let's dig into this. Let's have a look. So Robin says, here's a question. Have they ever... No, okay, well, I don't want to talk about that. This isn't verified, but it seems to be happening to white Christian companies more than any other. Well, yeah, it is. But then again, it isn't, because it depends on the white Christian country.
It seems to me like it's happening... Okay, this is my cursory take, okay? My cursory take is there are many people taking advantage of affluent westernized nations more than anything else, but it could be two-pronged, because a lot of these people aren't refugees.
They're economic migrants.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you know, we kind of need to allude to what the head of Hamas has said today. Okay, whilst I'm not living in fear, the head of Hamas has called for all supporters all over Europe.
Don't say it.
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. To do naughty, naughty, naughty things this week. That's all I'm saying. Shalini says, arriving for the freebies. Yeah, well, this is what I mean. So affluent westernized nations are...
Yeah, and if you make it easy for them, of course they'll come. And we do make it easy because, you know, I mean, look at France today, because it's illegal to protest and it's illegal to protest in support of what would you call it? A prescribed organisation. So 3 people were deported today for anti-Semitic remarks.
Did you see that Suella Braverman this morning has been writing to police forces all over the country, telling them that if you fly a Palestinian flag in support of Hamas, you're committing a hate crime?
Yes, now that's an interesting point, because given the statements that have come from the Israeli government, right, would they not also be committing crimes? So therefore one shouldn't be supporting them? Or am I just being incredibly naive, shallow, thick and slow?
Well, I was going to tell you that there is a narrative, right? There is a narrative, and what is being sown is that the Israeli statements are being made in the context of self-defense. Now, that apparently makes them morally righteous. I mean, when you're literally dehumanizing people, apparently that's fine if it's in the context of self-defense. Now, I'm not going to play this game, and that game is the pick a side game, right?
Yeah, okay.
Let me elaborate on that, because I don't want to just leave it there. Because the only side that I'm on is the ordinary civilian.
Yeah.
That's it.
I know.
And it doesn't matter if they're Palestinian or Israeli.
Yeah.
Or Ukrainian or Russian.
Okay. So I want to go back to my question. Who's allowing the influx? Who's allowing it? Right?
Well,
because we haven't answered that yet.
Well, our governments.
Are
ultimately.
They? How are they?
Well, aren't they the people, right? So let's break this down. So the government's first job is the safety and security of one's country, including the borders.
Yeah.
Now, they are being extremely lax on those borders, first and foremost.
Okay. So let's just give them the slight benefit of the doubt in that they're not going to allow people to die from drowning on your own doorstep, okay?
Yeah.
So generally they're going to bring them in, right? Now, the question then is, the government has made it quite plain that they're prepared to fly these people back to Africa, process them, and then they can either be granted asylum or not. And they've tried this a number of times, but each time they've been stopped by the courts. Now, that's not the government that's stopping themselves, right? It's not the government that's stopping the
I see where you're going with
the export of these people for processing, and then whether they come back or not is entirely up to the result of that processing. So the question is, it's not the government that's allowing the influx. So who is?
Then, if you really want to lay the blame on a certain, I guess, organization, it would probably be the civil service. But
the civil service aren't the people taking the government to court.
Well,
are they?
The civil service are highly against these policies.
But the civil service, the civil service is meant to be an impartial organisation that works for the government of the day to run the country.
They're not that, though, are they? Let's face it, they have their own bloody agenda.
Regardless of that, they're still not the people that are taking the government to court to stop these rendition flights, shall we say.
No.
So who's stopping, enabling the influx?
Honestly,
it's the people that are taking the government to court to stop the rendition.
NGOs.
Yeah.
NGOs.
So it's NGOs, and it's usually lefty liberal wetties, isn't it?
I would say in concert with the civil service, because now the reason I say this is because ultimately, most of the time, the aims of the civil service or the rhetoric of the civil service align heavily with these NGOs.
But right. Hold on a second. Who's the voice of the civil service, and how do we hear it?
Well, we get spokespeople for the civil service through the media. That's what we get.
Right.
Usually unnamed.
So now what we're getting is NGOs and the media are giving us the information, and they're the people that are effectively enabling the influx.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, I don't know the answers. I'm working with you guys here, so we're coming to an answer that
we're going together with this. We're working together with this.
It appears to be, it's not necessarily the government of the day that's causing this, right?
No.
But it definitely seems to be people that should be working for the government and therefore working for us, right? Ordinary people like you and I, except working for the civil service. So they may have a hand in it. NGOs definitely seem to have a hand in it, because they're actually funding and taking people to court, and then, making sure the legal aid and all that is claimed for.
Yeah.
And one has to question the level of legal aid for someone coming in should be bare minimum, right? Bare minimum to start with. And it shouldn't be concerned with whether they're processed here or in Rwanda or wherever, you know. If we decide we want to process everyone, right, on Rockall or Kirkwall or something like that, then we should be able to do that as a sovereign country.
Okay, I'm actually going to address the chat. Just a second.
Well, let's finish. So we may have got to the point where we've kind of got an answer as to who's enabling the influx, right?
Yeah.
So now let's go to the chat and say, have we got any differences there?
I mean, I want to just quickly address Rob Bruce, who says civil service not to blame on the public side. Okay. I'm with you, and as we've broken this down, I may have spoken prematurely to say they are the blame, but they certainly, in my opinion, have their own agenda. They certainly, in my opinion, often lean very far towards these NGOs. You see spokespeople for the civil service saying, we don't like this Rwanda thing, such as the like... And I honestly think that, I said it on Twitter earlier on, okay? We've got to hold ourselves to a higher standard than the mainstream media. And even when that comes to opinion, not just fact. And when we think we've had our mind changed or we've got something wrong or evidently we've said something that may not be the case, we have to face it head on and we have to rationalize that and talk it through, whereas that's the standard we need to hold ourselves to. The mainstream media do not. So it's a difficult one, and I like having these chats and these conversations because I can have my mind changed, and John, I'm sure you can as well. It's a tough one, and it's a tough one to fully break down and fully understand. But at the same time, unless we have these conversations, unless we try and get to the bottom of these things, they'll never be got to the bottom of. And we're just a couple of guys spouting shit on YouTube, really. That's what we are. But I believe these conversations are important, and I like your guys' input as well. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of think that it's NGOs and the media that are driving this more than anything. And the thing is, I don't think it's the ordinary people that are driving it, because I think generally ordinary people are kind of wanting the status quo. But what the ordinary people aren't doing is they're not stopping it, right?
No.
Now, and when I say ordinary people, you guys that are listening right now are kind of excluded, because you're not ordinary people. Yeah. Because you're special, because you listen to us. But no, you're a little bit more switched on, and you're thinking things through. But generally, people don't really think things through, and they think, oh, these people must have had a horrible life where they've come from in order to risk everything to try and get here, and cut them some slack and all that. And that's fine.
And for some, that will be true. And by the way,
it will be, but that's fine. People can think like that all they like. But the problem is, it doesn't help when you're trying to cut back on the amount of people that are influxing into your country. So anyway, that's my first question. I've got 6 questions here. Okay.
Ooh.
Right. So my next question is, to what aim are these people allowing this to happen?
Okay, I'm going to have to back out of this one, because honestly, like I said, it's all right to say that you don't know, and I'm not going to pretend that I do.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of theories. I've seen a lot of people saying a lot of things.
Well, I mean, here's one of the theories. One of the theories is we have a declining population. That's a fact. Most of the Western world does, right? Yeah. So our birth rate is under 2, which means that we have a declining population, and population will drop, right?
I've done my job. Done my part.
And Ukraine is actually a fine example, and it goes some way to explain why the average age of a soldier in Ukraine is over 40, because they don't have any young people. That's they kind of lost a whole generation, because between Gen X and then millennials, well, they never really got that many millennials. So Ukraine has got a big shortage from 20 to 30s. They don't have that amount of people.
Correct.
And the problem there is quite a number of Western countries are like that to a degree. And what's worrying people, and this is a theory, what's worrying people is who's going to pay the pensions of the people that have retired. And you see that the pension age is creeping up every year. So that kind of helps to alleviate it. But we're still in a problem in that we're going to run out of working people that are going to pay the pensions of people that have retired. Because our population is aging, and they're maybe and the theory is that bringing in these young people who are all doctors, nurses, lawyers, it's going to be good for the country. And you know what? It's a flawed, in my view, it's a completely flawed theory, right? Because the problem is there's no provenance on the people that are coming in, so you don't know if they're doctors, lawyers, nurses, or if they are career criminals, if they're murderers, and so on. So the problem is there's no provenance on these people, and at best what you're probably going to get is a cheap labour pool. That's not going to pay for your retirement funds, right?
Yep.
So I think that argument, that theory is blown out the water. So the question then is, I'm not the brightest person on the planet. So if I can see that, surely other people can as well, even those that are effectively enabling this stream of people to come to this country. Yeah. So to what aim are these people coming in? Now,
well,
there is, and we've touched on it before, there is this book that I call the manual, right? And it tells certain people that they should go out and infiltrate other countries and eventually take them over by stealth effectively, because they will go there, they will breed successfully, and they'll apply for positions of power, starting in lower levels of government, moving themselves all the way up to the top of the tree, right? And this happens. We know it happens. We know it happens in Scotland in particular, don't we? But you know what? That's probably a given that happens to a degree, but I don't think that's the reason behind, or the thinking behind these people that are coming from like Somalia and Algeria and things like that. I might be wrong. And maybe it's time to dig back into the chat, see if the chat's got anything to feed us on.
Well, Shalini makes a point, and she says these people don't work. Now, I believe unfettered, uncontrolled mass immigration was kind of for the filling of low-skilled jobs, right? At one point, but all it's done is driven down wages, ultimately. But I think that time is past. So now what?
Well, right, I'm not quite sure what Harold's going on about. What's a fact?
He must continue. Thank you, Amy. I really appreciate it. She said, okay, since we're both fans of Halloween, I'm sending you something for your display, or just give it to the kids, but you've got to open it up during a live show. Just let me know when you're going to open it.
Oh,
we
did that the last time as well.
I will let you know. Well, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I really do. And of course it will go on the display. Why not? Of course it will go on the display. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Right. No, I'm not going into that, Harold. That's nonsense, right? That's complete and utter nonsense what you're saying there, right? And I'll brook many arguments, but you're talking absolute bullshit, mate, right? And I don't think you've got proof, and I don't think you can prove it, right? I'll be honest. I think that's a complete nonsense argument.
I don't know. Okay.
Anyway,
I don't know.
So I don't. Yeah, yeah. The whole world. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The whole world is trying to solve Western Europe's pension crisis because the rest of the world doesn't necessarily have that pension crisis. India doesn't.
No.
You know.
my
Africa
thoughts.
doesn't. Sorry.
My thoughts were.
From Luke Nader, there is no greater power and support you can give someone than to look them in the eye and with sincerity conviction say, I believe in you.
Shush.
10.
Thank you, Luke. Luke's message was being read out.
Oh.
So you need to pay attention. There is no greater power and support you can give someone than to look them in the eye and say that I believe you.
Oh, well, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. We appreciate
Can I
it.
donate via Google payment card voucher? Rob, can you message me on Twitter? Possibly,
Google payment
if you're on
card
there?
voucher?
And we'll work that out.
Yeah, we'll work out something, mate. I mean, if
we'll
you
work
can prove
something
your
out.
provenance, I'll send you my backs if you
Oh.
want.
There you go. That might.
Are you in Scotland with a name like Rob Bruce?
Nice. Scotland.
So, right. Anyway, where are we? Yes. So, to what aim
Yes, Adam.
was the...
Yes, you can. A large one.
So, Adam... I do worry about Adam. I think.
I love him. Love him dearly.
Yeah, I do, but that's why I worry about him because I think mentally he's lost the plot.
John, that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know, and I've been trying to pull him back ever since. No, but I've been trying to pull him back ever since.
No, he's too far gone.
Yeah, I think you're right, mate. Anyway, right. So to what
Rob
aim?
Bruce is in Wales.
Oh, Wales. Oh, good. So,
Yes.
to what aim? I'm not sure. I think I don't think it's coordinated at that point. I don't think it is. I think what you've got is a bunch of NGO goody doers, right? See, the problem is if you're someone, let's try and put yourself into the mind of Tony Blair, Ben, right? Okay, you're Tony Blair, right? And you've got to think.
Yes, George, I'll tell them we've got weapons of mass destruction in
No, right.
Iraq. Yes,
but
George.
you've got a think tank, and you're encouraging immigration or open borders and globalization, right?
Mm-hmm.
How does this help you? This is the part I don't get. How does it help him? How does it help Bill Gates? How does this actually help Klaus Schwab or Ursula von der Leyen? How does it help any of these people? Right?
If anybody's got an answer for that, we're willing to hear it. Absolutely, we're willing to
All
hear
ears,
it.
all ears, because
All ears.
these low-skilled, low-educated people that are poor people that are coming in from foreign countries aren't gonna make this Wakanda, you know?
I was going to say, I'm pretty certain there aren't many nuclear physicists arriving on the boats.
No, there aren't. So this is the problem.
I'm just gonna put my hat in the ring and say the boats aren't full of GP level doctors and like I say, nuclear physicists and biologists and things like that.
Okay, right. Now, I understand what Harold's saying now. They're after the money, they're after power. How does this give them power, Harold? That's the thing I don't know, right? If you have an idea, then fire in. But how does this give them power if these people aren't powerful themselves?
I was going to say, let me give everybody here something existential to think on. Okay? People only have the power that other people allow them to have. And that it's all an illusion. It's all an illusion.
Yeah,
and it's built on shaky ground. And the reason it's built on shaky ground is because the serf class, as Vaughan called them, the serf class will eventually become self-aware. And this always happens, by the way. It always happens. And when they become self-aware, the people in the elite class don't stand much of a chance. That I can say. Because
that's the problem.
It is the few versus the many. And history repeats, doesn't it? Over and over and over again. People only have, even in governments, right? They only have the perceived power. Same as we're supposed to police by consent here in the United Kingdom or here in England. And by consent, what they mean is the power is perceived by the general public to be in the hands of those police officers. Now, at some point, that consent can theoretically be withdrawn. Theoretically. If it were true. It's not really, is it? We don't police by consent in this country. But the point of the matter is, go and watch the movie A Bug's Life. Do some bloody homework. It's a Disney film.
Right, okay.
Go and watch it.
So I don't think we're going to get an answer to what aim. Okay, now we'll work through this little essay that we're going through together, right? And because I mean we're going to have to come back and rewrite it at some point. So I think we've kind of pretty much nailed down the first one, but to what aim? I think we're kind of struggling. Okay, and I don't think we're not going to jump to an epiphany right now. So let's move on to number 3. Who will benefit? Right?
About that.
So who will benefit? So first of all, the people coming here will benefit in the short term. Yeah?
Yep.
Your focus has gone off, mate.
It should be all right now. It's not the focus, it's the connection. It should be all right in a sec.
What, did you wiggle something? I thought you were kept well away from them.
I accidentally put my can down on top of something. I can't even see you anymore.
I like the fact that you're so stable there in your shed that you can't even put your can down. Right, so
I know it's fucking weird.
We're trying to deal with who will benefit, and you know what, people? I don't know if this is a good show or not. I don't know if this is really ripping your knitting. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be reasonable and go through these questions because these questions plague me. They plague me. I don't know the answers. You know,
I can't believe you've written down 6 questions. To be honest, I'm shocked.
Why?
I mean, sure. Because you said to me, I don't have anything written down.
Well, I said I don't have a list.
Then all of a sudden, these 6 questions just come fucking flying out of nowhere. No, I got 6 questions.
What I said was, I don't have a list. Right.
I would say that's a list.
But it's not really.
Got 6 questions listed out. So that's a bloody list.
Right. I don't think we'll be trusting democracy, Harold, because we don't live in a democracy. Who's paid for this? Lower middle class? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, they're paying. We pay for everything.
That's who always pays for
fucking everything.
The last 3 years, you would have hoped most plebs here would wake up. Well, that's the big problem, Vaughn. People don't, and this is part of the problem in the UK. And to a lesser extent in other parts of Europe. I mean, for instance, you don't have the same issues in Poland, right?
No, of course not.
Because Poland just say, no coming in. No come in.
Same with Japan. Japan as well.
Yeah, no come in. So, completely different mindset, completely different way of looking at things. And I'm not saying it's a bad way or a good way. I'm just saying it's a completely different way.
It's a different way.
It's a different way. Anyway, right. So the NGOs must benefit. Surely, well, I don't know how. Because I don't know what they're trying to achieve. That's the thing. That's how. What are they actually trying to achieve? Are they trying to repopulate us with people that invariably come from a different cultural background and a completely alien religious upbringing to us? So are they trying to change the basic culture of the UK? Because we know that multiculturalism doesn't work. It never has, and it's been proven time and time again that it won't work. So what always happens in the end, and all we need to do is look back at history, and we don't need to go back that far, you know. All we need to do is look at Spain under the Moors, or, you know, it doesn't take much. Rome, Egypt, they all did the same thing. Ultimately, one culture will prevail, right? So multiculturalism just doesn't work, right? So I don't know what the NGOs are going to get out of it. I mean, short term, they're maybe getting funding and things, and people think they're doing the right thing, because a lot of people think that they're doing good. They really think they're doing good.
When they get on a plane and they think they've stopped some, you know, helpless person from being deported, and then that person ends up to have R-worded several women and was actually being deported because they'd just been released from the prison sentence for R-wording those women. Yeah. They haven't done good. But they've got this... I tell you what, there is this white saviour / white guilt complex among lots of these people. Okay?
But that's a relatively recent thing, Ben.
But it's very racist.
Yeah, but it's
very racist.
It's a very recent thing as well, because this has been going on for decades.
Yeah.
You know, and we've not come any closer to stopping it or understanding why.
Let me elaborate and qualify.
May I go to
my definition?
May I go to the fridge to grab some water? I'll put you full screen while you're elaborating.
Let me elaborate and qualify my thoughts on the concept of multiculturalism, because when people say, "Oh, you know, you don't know what you're talking about," on this planet, all over the world, there are loads and loads of different cultures. There are loads and loads of different religions and people who live in completely different ways to a completely different set of values, and oftentimes those sets of values can be diametrically opposed. Now, unfortunately, some of these cultures, because let's face it, when you bring a bunch of Sikhs, for example, into the United Kingdom, they become more British than most British people. They fly British flags everywhere. They bloody love it. Okay? And that's just what you see. And you know, they at least embrace the culture. But there are some other cultures, and I'm not going to name them, who will go to a place that is diametrically opposed to their values, but they won't integrate with the values of the place that they are going to. They will simply create an enclave, and within that enclave will continue to adhere to the values to which they have been brought up with or have come from. And like I say, oftentimes those values can be diametrically opposed to the place that they've moved to. Now, in that sense, that can never work, because one's not going to change for the other's not going to change for the other. They're diametrically opposed. How do you qualify that? Well, I'll tell you what they've done here in the West, well, at least here in the UK. They've created things like hate speech laws, which are essentially blasphemy laws, okay, when it comes to... And they've done that to try and, I guess, appease or quell any kind of unrest or insult or anything. But this is a country that gave us, you know, Roy Chubby Brown as a comedian, Jim Davidson. These people used to say and make what would now be coined controversial jokes. I mean, Roy Chubby Brown himself has been literally cancelled from theatres recently for the jokes that he makes. They're jokes, right? But this is the kind of society that we are. We were always the stiff upper lip society, the make controversial, make offensive jokes. And do you know what? When we actually point out our differences and we can make jokes about each other's differences, that's bringing us together, not taking us apart, because we're acknowledging that differences exist, and we're saying, you know, ha ha ha, they're funny, that's funny, we're funny, everybody's friends, everybody's laughing. But whilst these cultures are diametrically opposed, it can't work. And I don't know how to resolve that. So that's why I agree with the statement that multiculturalism has failed. Because if you import, you know, if you go to another country and you just import your own culture and you try and put those values upon that other culture. That's not multiculturalism. That's not. You're supposed to bring the best parts of your culture and, share them with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know I'm rambling and I'm ranting and I'm waffling.
I don't want new name in the chat. Tadpole. Good evening. Nice to see you. Yes, I think your statement's correct. However, we're talking about immigration at the moment, and we're working through my 6 questions, and we've just finished who will benefit, and we've got again. I think we've come to the conclusion that we don't actually know. And in the short term, the only people that's going to benefit are the people that are coming here and, getting benefits.
Yeah,
Just see what I did there.
But I will address Tadpole's statement because you're a new person. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I did address it.
Crime in either place.
I did address it. I said he was right.
But I just wanted to elaborate it. I think
because it's all about you.
Wherever it is.
It's right. So, question 4 is actually more of a statement. It's not really a question. So, question 4 is why we won't get rid of what's already here. And I think I know the answer to that.
The answer is optics. That's the answer.
Well, the answer is basically because not enough people will do something about it. Because it doesn't matter how many people protest. The majority of the people don't care. And that was very, very evident during the last 3 years. The majority of the people don't care. They'll do what the MSN tells them. They'll do what the government tells them. And they'll just get on with their lives. And they'll sit there like Alf Garnett or was his name in Bliss, Eddie, whatever, or Sid James. They'll just sit there and they'll moan about it, right? But they'll not do anything about it.
Well, that's because as long as the vast majority of people in this country have their 3 meals a day, have their Netflix and have their heating, they're placated, they're content. That's it. I don't like to use the term bread and circuses, but come on now.
Well, you're right, Ben. And you know what? I was sitting today, and this is going to sound incredibly arrogant, and I'm not even going to apologise for it because I'm an arrogant. See you next Tuesday. But this is the curse of having intelligence. This is the problem, right? Because I sometimes wish I was shallow, thick and slow. And I could just sit there quite happily, plodding along, doing some work, paying my taxes, not having to worry about anything, eating my 3 square meals, just follow life, watch EastEnders or whatever, and Strictly Come Dancing. But
oh no.
No, but you know what?
Yeah.
If you're one of these people that's ensconced in this blissful existence, because it is blissful, because
it is.
There's nothing to worry about.
Blissful ignorance.
It is blissful ignorance, yeah. And it must be great. But the problem we've got is we're too freaking intelligent. We think too much. We're always asking why. And the problem then is you are cursed with your own intelligence because you need to know the answers and you can see what's going wrong. And you're never going to sit there and go, oh, that's shocking, bad man Putin, fly the Israeli flag, You're just not going to be able to do that. And you'll never be content. And that's the problem. You'll never be content. So I'm sorry.
I'll never be content. I'll never be content. I'm not going to lie to you. I will never be content. But that's because like you said, my brain just fucking ticks around. Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah. And the thing is, universal credit would be a great thing for someone like us who's always trying to make more money,
Yeah.
I mean, we fail. We fail more than we...
Fundamentally, that is the only question you ever need to remember. Just one question, and it's just one word. Why?
Yeah.
Fundamentally, that is all you need to know. Because if you've got that power, you've got that ability, and you've got that that drive to question everything, then I think you'll do all right. Now, I'm not saying you'll be content. I'm not content, like I said, but I'm not content with people lying to us. Why do we elect people to lie to us? I mean, that is a fundamental question we also have to ask ourselves. The people that we elect, right, to do things on our behalf, are also given carte blanche to make things classified and to classify things from the public and tell the public nothing or tell the public a white lie. Why do we grant them the power to do this? Surely they should be transparent with us. It's a question. What do you think, John?
You know what I think about government? The smaller the better, the least the better.
Absolutely. The smaller the better, but they are given consent by the general public to be allowed to know things and not tell us things that could be extremely important to even our lives. They get intel about an incoming attack, for example, and they don't tell people, and it happens.
Yeah.
Have they done wrong? I think they have. I genuinely do. These people are elected representatives.
They don't represent us, that's the problem.
Of course they don't. Of course they don't. And like Adam says, you can't handle the truth isn't far from the truth, because they genuinely believe that the reason that they're keeping things from us is because we couldn't possibly comprehend it, because nobody's as smart as them. Nobody's going to be able to read data, or nobody's going to be able to handle a certain piece of news. Really? Because I tell you what, see this little pack of Energizer batteries here?
Yeah.
Right? There's more intelligence in the way this works than the entire fucking British government.
So what topic would you like to stick with, Shalini? Is life and your role in it not important enough?
Tony Garrett says, we forgive little lies because we're comfortable with our own little lies. Hence why an outrageous big lie is inconceivable. The Austrian painter played on this fact. Of course.
Well, of course
right?
he did, yeah. And he's Italian. He's Italian mucker. Well, what do you mean? Let's move on. What should we move on to? What can we move on to? Anyway,
let's
question 5.
Do you want? Let's change. We'll come back to your questions a bit later, maybe. I mean, we're already 50 minutes into the show. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
But let's move off to Luton for a minute, shall we?
Luton car parks.
What
just as well. Imagine if that had happened in Stowe. The whole town could have burned.
I'll tell you what. Boys and girls, my father-in-law was at Luton Airport yesterday morning. I did have questions.
Right, so, what are you going to tell me about Luton Airport?
There seems to have been a fire that's destroyed pretty much one of the car parks and a load of load of cars in it, and it appears to have been a Range Rover hybrid that's responsible.
Hold on. Let me just address this elephant in the room before we go any further. Robin, your idea, while possibly sound, right, would involve if it's not needed at the moment, right? Greening the Sahara is not needed. There is no shortage of space in Africa. Have you seen the size of Africa? It's practically empty.
Yeah, I tell you, Rob, we talk about EVs exploding all of the time.
Yeah.
We do.
Oh, we do. We do. Yeah. But greening the Sahara is not required. It really isn't. And the Sahara used to be green anyway, and probably will be at some point in the future. But yeah, it's an idea, Rob, but, there's plenty of space in Africa. They just stopped fighting over it,
So yeah, this Range Rover anyway that's exploded appears to be a diesel-electric hybrid.
Right, so where did you get that information? Because the fire service just said diesel.
I think that's been updated at this point. But,
by whom?
But by other sources and by other news.
Whoa, hold on.
That I have read.
By whom? Has the fire service said it?
Let me.
Have we managed to get the model of vehicle and ensure that it is a hybrid indeed?
I've actually seen a video of the fucking thing on fire.
I saw the video this morning, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was burning from the front quarter panel, which isn't where you would put a hybrid battery.
I'm not saying it was. Well, I never said that the electrics or the electric part of it were the cause of it. You're making assumptions here.
No, I'm not making assumptions. I'm not making assumptions because that was the last statement I saw, that it was a hybrid and it was the fire had started in the hybrid battery.
Yes. Rob Bruce says Tesla charger.
What about it?
I don't know. Left side has the power box, John. Says Militant Mushroom.
Left side where?
Andrew says, didn't know Range Rover did diesel hybrids. I'm pretty sure they do.
They're very new. Yeah, voltage doesn't matter, it's the ampage, but the ampage is high in these things. It's not that. It's once lithium catches fire, that's that. It's not going out until it's finished.
Diesel's not even flammable, John.
Of course it is.
I know, diesel only combusts under pressure.
No, it doesn't. It will burn. If you get it warm enough, it will burn. And once you've started it burning, it'll keep burning. Right. I mean, have you never heard of a fuel air bomb?
Well, yeah, you do have to heat it up though, so it's not instantly flammable, is what I'm trying to say.
It's harder to ignite than petrol.
Yeah.
Right, because it doesn't gas off as quick. Because remember, it's not the actual liquid that burns; it's the gas above it. So petrol is more volatile, and the volatile gases catch fire quicker. Diesel will give off enough gas for you to light it eventually. I mean, it's the same with paraffin. If you've ever had a paraffin heater, you've got to light it, and it's harder to light than if it would have been petrol, but it's less likely to go boom.
So Mike Graham of Talk TV is really, really, really insinuating that he believes this was an electric car fire. Mm-hmm. And he's tweeting things such as car parks used to just combust into flames before electric vehicles were invented.
I'll be honest, I've never heard of a car park going on fire and semi-collapsing. Never.
Yeah.
A car park.
So the Range Rover diesel hybrid, the battery is under the left-hand side.
Oh, right. Okay, fair enough. Under the left-hand side of the vehicle or under the left-hand side of the bonnet because it was the front quarter.
No, it wasn't. I'm going to send you a picture.
I've seen the video.
No,
it was around the front wheel.
It ignited on the left-hand side first.
Round the front wheel.
Let me send you a picture. We're going with this. We're going with this. This is interesting because if you look at this and tell me that that's not ignited where that battery sits.
Well, where does the battery sit?
Under where the flames are.
What am I supposed to be looking at?
I've just sent you a post with two pictures. The first one is where the Range Rover Evoque is on fire, and the second one is where the battery sits inside of a Range Rover Evoque.
Yeah, the battery's under the driver's seat.
No, it's not.
That big blue thing is the battery.
Yeah, under the driver's seat on a European model, mate. Not on a British model.
What? Ben, you sent me a picture of it with the battery under the driver's seat, right? And partially under the rear footwell, right?
Yes, the driver's seat in this image is on the left because this is a European...
Right, okay. Regardless of that, drive. It's on the left, yeah.
Yes.
But that's not where the fire started, was it?
Look at the other picture.
Yeah, that other picture doesn't tell you anything. There's one from another angle that shows you it burning at the front of the vehicle, not under the seat.
Give the audience the pictures. Let them see them. Because
They can go and find them. I'm not going to start fucking about with pictures. Right. Regardless of whether it was an EV fire or not. Right? It's... What's your point?
My point, caller, is the audience are checking out, so let's move on.
Well, yeah, okay, so... I don't know what the point is. I don't know what it matters.
Well, my point was simply that it was a diesel electric hybrid, which it was. It was a Range Rover Evoque.
No, right, okay.
And that was my whole point.
Okay. Right. So what do you want to talk about now?
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about this question then, because I seem to have started a conversation on Twitter for once. So Matthew Stadlen tweets, I am Jewish. My grandparents escaped the bad thing that happened in WW2. The sickening evil acts of savagery committed by Hamas terror people in recent days belong in the Middle Ages. Israel, of course, has a right to defend itself from such wickedness, but the war is against Hamas, not children and other innocents trapped inside Gaza. International law must be upheld, to which obviously I agree. But my response, which seems to have really kicked off a conversation, and it's something I'm going to punt to you, John, and it's something I'm going to punt to the audience as well, is this. When Hamas use those people as human shields like they do, then what do? Genuine question. Not an attempt at a gotcha. I genuinely have no idea, because I'm vehemently against the killing of civilians on any side, and they are being used as cannon fodder by Hamas. And they are, by the way. They are being put in the way. This is what they do. They put their weapons depots in houses, in hospitals, in things like that, so that,
Yeah.
Hamas are just as bad for the freaking Palestinians as they are for anybody else.
Yeah.
So, what do you do? What do you do? How do you
right. So your problem here is it depends what your appetite is. Because if you want to sort it out, you go in mob-handed like the Israelis are talking about and sort it out, right?
Right.
But you're going to have to...
you just call those people collateral damage.
Yeah, that's what you're going to have to... That's what you're going to have to live with if you want to go down that route. The alternative route is you take a more measured approach and you try and negotiate some kind of terms with them. And then...
How can you negotiate terms with someone who's elected on a doctrine of wiping you out?
Can I finish?
Yeah, sorry.
Right. So the other alternative is you do the kind of American route, which is you negotiate terms with them, get to the point where you've got your hostages back out, and then you turn around and stab them in the back.
That still doesn't solve the issue, though.
You can't solve the issue, mate.
Of the people in the way.
You can't solve the issue. Because you cannot win a war against a terrorist organisation, because every time you start to win, they'll move away, regroup, and come back at you. You cannot beat terrorism, right, by a direct action. It just can't be done. I mean, all we need to do is look at Ireland. It's not finished there. It's not gone there. Still bubbling under. Still happens occasionally, you know. They've made great strides towards peace, but it's not how it was. But it's still not 100%.
The problem is, if you go in mob-handed, and you end the life of people's children, and you leave them alive, all you've done is created another terrorist. Well, all you've done.
This is and this is how America didn't realise when they were fighting their guerrilla war in Vietnam that it didn't matter how many people they bombed and how much they wiped out. They were never, ever going to win that. Never. Right? You cannot win that when everyone is picking up a weapon and going to use it against you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the problem. This is the problem.
And the other
with
problem is
these kind of organisations, because they're not acting. Hamas isn't a nation state. It's not acting as a nation state. It's not recognised as a nation state. It's acting as a kind of de facto governing body of a small strip of land.
Unfortunately, Rob Bruce, I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. He says, at what cost? Bloodbath, horrible, peace, peace. We all want that. But unfortunately, you know, these are not the type of people that you can negotiate peace with. Because Hamas were elected on a doctrine of making the people next door extinct. Not just, taking back the land, but ending the lives of every last one of them. They were elected on that doctrine, and those people that they want to essentially wipe out are not going to be able to negotiate with them.
Yeah, and this is why I said you can't. There's no cure for this. There's no cure for this. It doesn't matter
And
what you do.
This all boils down to at a fundamental, basic level on both parts, on every major conflict. It all boils down to ideology. Okay, it all boils down to who believes what. And who thinks they have the right to this, and whose ideology is better than theirs. And I'm not going to go any deeper than that, but I've always said it. Ideology is the cause of most of the world's problems. Because people can't reconcile the differences between their ideology. And it's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go any deeper. I'm not. But what do you do? It's the same as the whole multicultural argument I made earlier. When these two things that are fundamentally diametrically opposed sit right next to each other, how can you resolve that? And the thing is, I don't think I don't think we can. I really don't. It's sad. It's really sad.
See, the problem with all this talk, right, is that you can't come to a conclusion here, and you're not going to come to a resolution that's going to be palatable to anyone, never mind everyone, right? And the problem is, we, as a species, we've got to this stage where we've basically evolved from hitting each other with sticks and stones, right, to hitting each other with faster sticks and stones.
Yeah, absolutely.
So nothing's really changed there. But what has changed is we've put rules around it. And those rules mean that if you do something, with intent, then you're classified as one thing. And if a whole country does something against another whole country, then that's not quite the same intent, so you're not classified as something else. It's just the whole thing's it's just a mishmash of rules played by old rich men that are paying for it in poor people's blood.
As horrible as that sounds, what more can I say?
Yeah, that's that.
And I don't think we've really got any funnies for tonight, unfortunately.
No, we don't.
Boys and girls, the world is going to shit. Going to shit around us all.
Yeah.
And the question is, do we care?
Well,
I mean, we do.
Yeah, and that's why this probably hasn't been the last. I mean, the last two shows probably haven't been the funnest, because it's very difficult to be upbeat and keep everybody on an upbeat note when basically you see everything falling apart. And you know that things are going to get worse before they get better, because unless somebody stands down and you've picked the two worst organisations to fight each other, because
Agreed.
They just don't have a reverse. I mean, we talk about Putin not having a reverse gear, but oh my God, Israel.
Neither of these people have a reverse gear.
They don't. They just don't. And this is going to be a nightmare. So,
Unfortunate. So we will be back Friday, and on Friday night we will bring the fun.
yeah.
Right? We will try our best to bring the fun.
Yeah, I'm going to
Friday
drink.
night. Hopefully, nothing fucking terrible happens between now and then. But I fear our hopes will be dashed. Unfortunately. But we shall see.
We shall see. Yeah.
And once again, thank you all.
It's hard. And thank you for bearing with us through this, because you know what? We're trying to work these things out as well. And what we're doing here is we're not pretending to be oracles or the fount of knowledge, you know, because...
No, we're not.
We aren't. You know, we've got an idea of what's going on, but there's a lot of questions in the world that we don't know why. And sometimes I think people are too quick to ascribe things to just things that happen. And not everything's done for a conspiracy. Not everything is a conspiracy.
No. Not everything is a conspiracy. It really isn't. And at the end of the day, we are just like everybody else. We are just ordinary people, ordinary citizens, working class, lower class. I'm much lower class than even bloody John, let's face it, right? But working class, lower class people being told things, and we're just asking questions. And we'd like you to, you know, ask questions, give us your opinions, tell us what you think as well. And the most important thing you can do for us tonight is share this show. Not just this show, but any shows you come along to. You know, guaranteed to be live Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays for the most part. John, every other week, Thursdays with Down the Rabbit Hole, which you enjoy doing with Ed the Techie. There might be something tomorrow night. I can't for sure tell you.
I think tomorrow night's an off week.
Yeah, but I might be able to do it.
You might be doing something.
Oh. I'm looking into it.
Okay.
I can't promise anything at the moment. But yeah, and if you do want to support us any further, you can do so at the links in the pinned comment, patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent, or you can become a member right here on YouTube. And John, I think we're going to try and add a special Chaz emoji just for members, aren't we?
Yeah.
So if you become a member, you'll get a little Chaz emoji, hopefully, in the coming days.
There you go.
We'll try.
So,
are you going to tell them it's been great for them?
No, I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for bearing with us. And yeah, Robin's right. I'm going to leave the last words of tonight's show to Robin. And Robin said, "We are all just people that want to avoid war."
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. I call shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want